Hello and welcome to the Knitty Stew podcast. My name is Leanne. I am the Knitty Stew. Stew is short for stewardess. I am a Canadian flight attendant who happens to be completely smitten with everything knitting and yarn and fiber related. So I have this channel here where I usually bring you with me on overnights to the cities I get to go to as part of my job. We visit local yarn shops and talk knitting, what I'm working on, what I've been thinking about, those kinds of things. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to, before we get any farther, I wanted to acknowledge that I'm filming from my living room today here. I live in, and I'm based out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I found a video on the Calgary Public Library website where an Indigenous staff member did a video on sign language acknowledging the land. And I thought I'd give it a try, so here I go. Today we acknowledge our Treaty 7 friends, where the Blackfoot meets at Elbows Bend. Soon came the Tsuut'ina from the Beaver clan. That's a beaver's tail. And the Iskia and Nakota in the mountain lands. Last but not least, the Métis people from Region 3. Together, we are all treaty people in Calgary. So I hope that was okay. I think it's important that I honor the original caretakers of the land I live on. And so that was just something a little different. And I could mostly, hopefully, pronounce all of those names correctly. So welcome. If you're new here, thank you for checking me out. If you are a continued viewer, welcome back, friends. How's everybody doing? I'm having a cup of coffee in the peak of fall right now. Absolutely loving this weather. Today it is 16 degrees Celsius, 61 degrees Fahrenheit for American friends. And I mean, this is the season, right? If you're a knitter, chances are fall is your jam. It's definitely mine for sure. And I've had holidays, which is why I'm home and filming from here and not in a hotel room. I usually take off some of October for my husband's birthday, and he just had his birthday on October the 9th, and it was so nice to be home knitting and just enjoying the beautiful season, which is my favorite. It doesn't last half as long as I wish it did, but I think that's part of why it makes it so special. Speaking of special, this is my favorite, one of my favorite mugs from Newfoundland. I got it at the top of Signal Hill in St. John's. It's got painted wildflowers from the region. And coffee tastes good, but it tastes extra good out of our favorite mugs. Am I right? So I hope everyone is well. Yeah, I was wanting to always attempt to film on the road or record on the road, but I see as I go forward, sometimes that might not be feasible, depending on how much I have to put into my flight bag in the winter time, because I do have to pack like warmer clothes, boots. I can't just put all knitting things in it, although I have had questions on how do I bring all the stuff that I bring with me on the road. It's like a clown car, knitting needles, yarn projects, wool, all that stuff. But I do also have to bring extra clothes and toiletries and those things too. Sometimes I fly up, usually 4 days, but sometimes I fly for 5 days, and I literally live out of that suitcase and my lunch kit. So maybe that'll be something for a future episode if I do a how do I pack for my trips. But today I really wanted to film because I don't have a long-ish overnight for a few more weeks. And if it gets longer than like 3 weeks, I have too much to show and it gets overwhelming. I like to try and stay on top of things. Today I have 3 finished objects to show. I have 2 works in progress. And then I also thought it would be kind of fun to compile a few fun, spooky, maybe not so spooky, fall knits to show you guys in case you're needing a little bit of inspiration there. Just a couple of my favorite things that I've made that are fall / Halloween-ish. And yeah, that's what I've got with me. And I do have a few acquisitions / gifts to share as well. So I hope you'll snuggle in with me, grab your knitting or your crafting, whatever you might be up to today, and let's get into it. I can hardly wait to show you my first finished object. Right here, I showed you I was about 90% done on my last podcast. And this is the Pure Joy Shawl by Joji Locatelli. I did it for her fall cowl. This really was, I talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but what a joy. This really was fun. Doing some short rows. I did German short rows, and then the contrasting color was Windswept Fibers sock that I over dyed to make darker to contrast with this Woodland sock in the colorway Veil. I am digging it. I love it a lot. It's very lightweight, pretty very wearable, and it just checked all the boxes. And when I was knitting it, I was having just such a lovely time. It was at the end of August and September. So yeah, that's my Pure Joy shawl, my first finished object. I should probably also tell you what I'm wearing. I pulled this out. This is The Weekender by Andrea Mowry. I made this last year. I did the sleeveless version. And I made it with Briggs & Little Heritage. Now, admittedly, I haven't been wearing it a lot because it is a bit heavy. I mean, I'm wearing it now today and I'm like, actually, I really dig it. It's such a great knit. Yeah, I like the details. It's got the lower hem in the back and it's cropped. But I should have, and I have since, acquired the actual yarn by Brooklyn Tweed, the Shelter. And I'm thinking about making the whole, maybe, I don't know, I quite like the vest look. Kind of into those right now. But yeah, I have enough in, it might seem boring, but soot, which is kind of like a black, gray. Well, I've got it right here, hold on. This is my yarn cupboard, by the way. Yeah, well, that's just 3. I've got 5 of these in the Shelter. And Shelter, I've knit with it many times. The woolen spun nature of this yarn is so bouncy and so light that I think it would be a very wearable knit if I make it again. So yeah, that could be something up on the queue soon. But for now, today I'm wearing it with my fox shirt. If I get questions about this fox shirt, I call this my my icebreaker shirt, because whenever I wear it, people just start talking to me. I got it from Express. It was the Portofino shirt, which was a classic. This was purchased like, probably 2017, maybe 2018. But I've tried to purchase things on Express online since, and the quality hasn't quite been the same. So anyways, I really do like this shirt. I treasure it because it's really fun. The little foxes. Next. Okay, so that was what I'm wearing. I showed this on the last podcast as well. Got a lot of comments on this. This is the Pressed Flowers hat by Amy Christoffers. I love this hat. I'm putting it on right now. Okay, there's several things I love about it. Not the least of which is how fun is the mosaic pattern. Now the shawl pattern is definitely something I would consider, because this was just such a blast. And the next thing I love about it the most was the wool I chose to use. I knitted up with Durarem Natura Ulysse. The 2 colorways, one is called, I think, Storm, and the other is Golden. I was gonna look this up. Does it say on here? Tempête. So that's Storm in French, and I don't remember what the gold is, the yellow. Love it. And it feels so good against my head. Yeah, it's amazing. I wanted to get, it's 100% wool, French wool, and I love it. I want more. It might be my desert island wool. We'll see. We'll see, but I like how it turned out. I had somebody asking about the decreases on the back, so maybe I'll flip around here. Can you check it out? Yeah. I think what I did is very carefully blocked it. I soaked just the body of the hat. I didn't want to touch the ribbing here. It's just, I don't like to block that out at all. And it still kind of grew a little bit, but no, I like it a lot. It's still comfy and just a little bit of slouch. This is my fall hat for sure. So highly recommend. I will link everything I'm talking about below in my description notes if you wanted to go have a look at the needles I used and the actual name of the wool. And yeah, that'll be on my Ravelry page. I'll link to that, as well as the paid pattern. It's brilliant. I love it. And I'm wondering if she'll make a cowl. I would definitely knit a pressed flowers cowl. All the pressed flowers, everything. Yes. My third finished object is the Bandana Cowl by Purl Soho. It is a free pattern and it is genius. So a little story behind this. What a great knit. So there's currently a knit along happening, the Purl Soho Bandana Cowl knit along, and it's happening right now. And I reached out to Purl Soho to allow me to participate in the knit along, and they were very gracious, and they did total fangirling. Purl Soho sending me yarn. I told my husband and he's like, yeah? I'm like, Purl Soho. They sent me yarn to participate. So that was a pretty big deal for me. What I realized after the fact was that all the pricing that is available through the knit along is only available if you're in the United States. Sorry, Canadians. So yeah, that's for legal reasons. So I feel a little sheepish about that. But what I don't feel sheepish about is like promoting this cowl, because it's super fun. Like I didn't actually know, and it's been around for 11 years. I've had it in my queue, not in my queue per se, but in my favorites. It is knit from the bottom up. So you start down here and it's all in the round, and you knit up and you do some short row shaping. And you'll be proud of me. I did SSKs, using Patty Lyons method, and knit two together so that they're right and left leaning. Yay. So yeah, you do some shaping, and I managed to get this out of one skein of their plenty. Now, yarn choice I think is a big deal. Like, it's so so springy and bouncy, and it is 100% let me just read the tag here. 100% extra fine merino wool, and it practically knit itself. It's crazy. It's got this lovely little halo, and the color I picked here, this is reed gray. The pattern actually had some regular knit rounds after the decreasing, after the short rows, and when I did that, I lost it yarn chicken with the one skein. So I ripped back and I knit. I just started knitting into the last garter rounds here, and managed to get it out of one skein. So I do encourage you to check out the knit along. For those of us who are Canadian or international and can't win, it's like $1,000 Purl Soho gift card. Can you imagine? $1,000 at Purl Soho. And I will always regret this one thing. I went to New York one time on an overnight with work, and I was too chicken to go all the way downtown to check out Purl Soho when they actually had a physical store. Now I believe it's all online. So kicking myself for that, because now I can't go in and check out that. I'm pretty sure that was their famous wall of yarn. I used to use it as a screensaver on my phone. Anyone else yarn obsessed that your screensaver is wool or yarn? Put it in the comments if that's you. as well. So before I get into the fall inspiration curation inspo, I wanted to let you know, and hopefully you're not disappointed that I didn't get out onto an overnight city, but I did go to a little town outside of Calgary while I was on my days off. And my sister Wendy, the one who taught me how to knit, her and her husband bought a little acreage just south of Calgary in a town called Okotoks. So we whipped out there, myself and my good buddy Rob, another WestJet flight attendant. He and I popped down for a little day at the farm. Okotoks is only about a 35-minute drive from the south of Calgary, maybe even a little bit less, depending on how you drive. It's known for a large glacial rock called an erratic, which is really neat. It also has a little yarn shop out there, and it's called Unwind Wool Shop. It's in the historic part of town on a cute little street, and I popped in there and had a look around. There's two of them that take care of the shop. Cortland, who was very lovely, let me take some footage of the shop and the things that they have. A lot of selection for a tiny little shop, that's for sure. The yarn shop was fun, but the highlight of the day was hands down hanging out with the chickens, watching my friend Rob have a great time. And my sister, she does things the way my sister does things, and let's just put it this way. Her chickens, their chicken coop has wallpaper. There is a xylophone in case they need to have, a concert or want, musical interests. She built them a bridge. It is a chicken's dream. And yeah, she's embracing the rural lifestyle. And while we were there, she taught my friend Rob to knit. So it was a really, really great day out of town. And yeah, I treasure my days out there because it's so quiet. As soon as you get out of the city, it's beautiful. South part of town has a very calming effect. As soon as Dave and I, my husband, will drive out of town, we'll be like, oh. So eventually, perhaps one day, we will be out of this large city of Calgary and down into a smaller outlying community. We'll see. So that was a really great day. Okay, so for my fall inspiration, the first thing I have to show you is this little cutie patootie. This is literally called the Little Pumpkin Hat by Susan B. Anderson. Cannot tell you how many times I've made this hat. It is so adorable, and I think it's a free pattern. I do have the book that it's from. It's called Itty Bitty Knits. My mother-in-law bought me that book when I first started knitting, and I've used it a lot. It stretches, it's for a newborn, or it goes all up to like a 1-year-old or more. Yeah, the second spooky inspo is called the Spooky Hat by RosiePosieKnitCo. I made this last October. My daughter Anna basically swiped it off my head, and she was wearing it. And I found it, and the pom-pom was a little squished, but other than that, it's looking pretty cute. I love the color work. It's a paid pattern. I'm pretty sure I just used worsted bits of like Lion Brand, that kind of thing. But if you're really into the fall season, maybe that's something you'd want to whip up. It's super cute. And I've actually had a couple people ask for one. Adults too, not just children. It's fun. And the other thing for fall / maybe gifts inspo, if you wanted to start, are these. And I'm actually going to put them on real quick. These are my Woodland loafers. I went banana sandwiches for these last year, and I believe in 2020 as well. These is a pattern by Slade, the Woodland loafers. Perhaps I should just put a picture on the screen instead of trying to awkwardly show you my feet. There we go. They're great. I have a little Cinderella basket by my front door, and if people come over, they can grab a pair of slippers and hopefully not wipe out on the hardwood floors, because that would get awkward, liability and all. But yeah, I've made probably 10 or more of those. It's a fabulous pattern. I highly recommend. These ones that I'm wearing are in Brown Sheep Lamb's Pride. So it's kind of like a bulky weight, and they have a bit of mohair. So they have a nice halo. They're cozy and really quick to knit up. It's a brilliant pattern. So I will link that below. Okay, works in progress. Hopefully my phone will keep going. It was giving me a storage warning. Oh boy. Here we go. This here, I've got a little bit farther down. Look at me and all my beige today. This is the Traveler's Cardigan by Hailey Smedley, also known as Ozetta. It's being knit up currently in Nutiden, and it's called Scrimsle, the colorway. And my last episode I was showing, I had this ginormous ball, and it's 2 strands of the Nutiden wound together. Smaller balls don't tend to pull apart as easy, so I've started to make them smaller. Thank you to Loretta from Knit My Way Home podcast for those tips and tricks. And it's coming along pretty good. What I'm enjoying is, of course, the speed. This is a US 10 needle for the body, and you knit the button band. Here, I want to show you this side. It's a little neater, I think. You knit the button band, knit purl as you go and join it. So I've already passed the sleeves and I'm onto the body part now. So it's coming along pretty good. I was having a moment last night where I was like, but I was just not loving it for a second there. But it's a good thing I slept on it because I'm loving it today. What I might do next, I think it might be a wise idea for me to pick up the neckline next before I decide on how long to make it. And then the sleeves are lovely. They have a bit of a poof, and then they get cinched in. I'll put a picture here and I'll link the pattern below, of course. And yeah, this is whipping off the needles pretty quick. And I have still tons of this stuff. It's pretty fun. It's a little bit stressful at times. Like my husband was moving my cardigan, which I had on the kitchen table as I take over the house with my knitting. And of course, he just pulled it the wrong way and whoop. So, but you learn to get a hand for it. Like I've learned how to work on it and I like it a lot. I did have a Patreon going with the Honer Hair, but it's just too tempting for me. Like I want all of it. I actually didn't show my acquisitions last time because I couldn't bring them all into my suitcase, but I have them here. If you'd like to see what I got in the last shop update, I'll have to put the names below because I won't remember them offhand. But this is how they come as plates, and you pull from the outside and the inside. And then for me, I need two strands together at the same time. My whole yarn cupboard smells like lanolin and Swedish sheep. How awesome is that? So I got one of those. I do have plans for this. And the other one that I went banana sandwiches for, like you should see how small the packages are, and yet they all fit in a small little package because it's air. This is, I wish I could remember the name of this. There's a very special story behind this. Sorry if the light's a little too bright, but it's a deep, dark, black navy blue. This one was really special. And last but not least, I just jumped right into acquisitions, but I needed to tell you about my Nutiden. Is this color, which I also got a sweater quantity of. Okay, yeah, I think the color is coming through pretty good. It might be looking a little more green than it actually is. It's got a lot of browns and yellow. And we'll start with my Traveler's Cardigan and go from there. I was saying in my last episode that I was having trouble, a little cast-on-itis, that I just couldn't get started. And I just need to ask the wool itself, like, what do you want to be? put it up to my ears and wait for it to tell me. Or as my friend on Knitting a Good Yarn, Jackie, does, she meditates with it. I think that's brilliant, because getting quiet and like this yarn called to me. Some people, not at all, would be attracted to this, but this green, yellow, brown, it was like ringing my bell. So something pretty special is afoot with this. I'll put that away. Yeah, so that's my unspun. But I was actually just talking about what was my works in progress, and the Traveler's Cardigan, the one thing that took my entire, basically my holiday, was spent full-time knitting on the Stephen West Mystery Knit-Along, Clue 1. So by the time this video airs, it'll already be Clue 2. So I'm going to show Clue 1 completed, which was an absolute marathon for me. And if you don't want to see that, just I'll put the chapters below and you can skip ahead. But it's all over the internets now. This is Clue 1 completed of Stephen West Twists and Turns Shawl Mystery Knit Along. And friends, I didn't think I can do it. I was having some serious life chats with myself as I worked through it. I love the Amelia and Philomene yarns so much that I'm feeling a little hedgy about the whole knit along thing, because yeah. Now, the whole reason I joined the shawl is because I think Stephen West is a genius, and I also really enjoy his vibe and his videos. He has a tutorial and goes through every single row with you during this knit along. So I wanted to learn some new techniques and just, yeah, absorb his positivity. But if I'm not going to wear this, I don't necessarily need a work of art. I would like a wearable piece of knitted clothing. Now, of course, I can buy some more of this Amelia and Philomene, of course. And Clue 2 is going to include, this is my accent color. So that's the thing about knitting. I am the boss. And if I'm not loving something, I can reclaim my yarn and do it again. Or I can just make something else all entirely different and just push myself to finish the knit along. I'm not generally a quitter. I am pretty disciplined when it comes to stuff, and I'm a very stubborn Taurus, I guess you would say. So we will assess. I will start. Clue number 2 looks a lot more user-friendly. Not so much concentration, which was, it was an intense amount of concentration, a very large first clue. So I know that Stephen West shawls are not for the weak, and I am not weak, but I just want to make sure I love it so that I'm going to wear it, because we should be wearing our knits. We need to love our knits. I also love the process of knitting, and I did not enjoy the process of this Clue 1. Not even, well, let's see, what did I enjoy? I enjoyed the I-cord bind off. That was about it. The rest of it, I had to watch podcast after podcast to be distracted, to not be like, oh my gosh, I still have however many more repeats to go. It was just a bit fiddly. Twisting and turning, it is a paid pattern, so I can't give stuff away, but let's just say there was a fair bit of casting on and casting off, which is, sometimes we need a rest row. And that is my one feedback about Clue 1 was like, Mr. West, I need a rest row. Okay, please. And I didn't find I had one. So enough about that work in progress. We will see where it goes. It is just week 2. Okay, well, my husband just got home and I said I need about 10 more minutes, maybe less. I just have acquisitions left to go, and I'm excited about it because 2 of them are gifts. And the first thing I wanted to show you was this incredible skein or hank of 100% Romney wool that was sent to me from Betsy McPherson in Montpelier, Virginia. She messaged me on Instagram and asked if I wanted to try it out. Yes, please. It's just absolutely to die for. She reminded me in the package to sniff it. Don't worry, Betsy. I've been sniffing it since it arrived. It is absolutely delightful. Yeah, Betsy and her husband Kevin have a little farm in Montpelier, Virginia. I think I might have said that already. And it's even got the sheep's name, and she sent me pictures of the sheep. Delilah, thank you for your 200 yards of worsted weight fiber. Delightful and lovely. I'll put their website and also her Instagram handle in the notes as a thank you. And please, like, seriously, it is so luxe and I love it. Betsy is also a children's book author, and she sent me a couple of bookmarks. She has 2 books. One's called The Shepherd and the Bottle Babies, and the other one's called Daisy and the Shepherd. So if you need children's books that are sheep based, give her a look. Thanks again, Betsy, for that. The other thing is not a gift. I bought it for myself. This is the cutest project bag ever from Shetland Wool Week. And it's navy blue canvas, and it's got a picture of this year's colorwork hat that I made. And I also got this little notebook. It came so fast. Like, I ordered it and it was in my house within a week. I really like it because it's got all this graph paper. And when I write out a pattern, I love to check off the rows with graph paper. So, and it's just got all these cute vintage looking mitten and sock blockers on the back. So that's from Shetland Wool Week website. I really need to stop signing up for newsletters because while it's great for inspiration, it's also so tempting when I see something and can't resist. But it is kind of my dream one day to go over to Shetland for the Wool Week. My husband was born in Harrogate, and you know, there's a wool festival there too. Wool festivals everywhere. My next acquisition is from my Breed of the Month Club from Longway Homestead. This arrived yesterday in a beautiful vacuum pack seal, which is genius because shipping here in Canada is very expensive. And so when it's in a vacuum pack seal, it's super flat. It's like letter mail. And it's lightweight and lovely. And the Breed of the Month is Targi. I love that Longway Homestead sends this along. I love learning about the sheeps. This is where I'm at in my wool journey, is that I need to learn about the fiber, the sheep. That's super cool. So I will wind that up. It is DK 2-ply, and it's grown and milled in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. And it's approximately 235 meters, 100 grams. And I will wind this up. Maybe the two of them could go together. Actually, this is quite lofty worsted weight, and this is DK, so I mean, we'll see. I haven't found any plans for it. Right now I'm just learning about the sheep breed itself, which is very interesting. Yeah, so that's cool. And then my final acquisition was the second part of the gift from Pearl Soho. They sent me, I got to request the colors for my cowl knit along for the Bandana Cowl, and this is their Plenty wound up. This color is called Fresh Fig, and it might be, no, actually that looks pretty accurate. It's a pretty lush color. It's outside my palette, but I mean, it's squishy and divine, and I definitely have another Bandana Cowl ready to go on the needles because it just flew and it was so fun and squishy. And that's everything I have for us today. My next episode will likely be on the road again. I do have one longer overnight at the very end of October that I will try and get out because there's a new yarn shop somewhere in Canada and I might get to go check it out. So you'll have to stick around for that. In the meantime, I do hope everyone stays healthy and happy and full of joy, finding all the goodness of the seasons, whether it's fall or spring for you. And I really do look forward to seeing you next time here on Knitty Stew. Have a great weekend. Bye.